This video will cover how to find the geometric means. Geometric means would be unknown terms between known terms of a geometric sequence. Unknown terms between known terms of a geometric sequence. So we're going to approach this in a very similar fashion to how we approached arithmetic means earlier in the chapter. It is going to tell us in the problem how many blanks we need to insert. In this case, we're looking for 3 geometric means between 2 and 1,250. So we have 2, and then we have 3 blanks, and 1,250. The reason we do that is exactly the same reason we did it in the arithmetic means problem. We know that 2 is the first term of our sequence, but we need to know the term number of 1,250. So if 2 is the first term, then the first blank would be the second term, third term, fourth term. 1,250 would be the fifth term, meaning that we're going to let n equal 5. We need n equal to 5 so we can figure out the common ratio, the R value. Now this is not as easy as it sounds, because when we're doing this, we're plugging into our geometric sequence equation. So we have 1,250 equals 2 times R to the n minus 1. That would be the 5 minus 1 power. So that means we have 1,250 equals 2r to the fourth. Now if we're solving that for r, our first step is to divide by 2. That step shouldn't be too hard to see, giving us that 625 is equal to r to the fourth. But we have extremely limited experience in solving this kind of problem. So to undo a fourth power, we need to take a fourth root. So r would be the fourth root of 625. Now that's a little bit of a challenge, because that means we have 2 different r values, because the fourth root is an even root. Now what I mean by that is 4, the index, is even. And if the index is even, then there are 2 roots. And we have to remember to put in plus or minus. So we have 2 different possibilities here. We could have r equals 5, or we could have r equals negative 5. So we actually have to provide 2 different sets of answers. Okay? So if r is equal to 5, then our answer is going to be the 3 sets of numbers for when we fill in our blanks by multiplying by 5. So 2 times 5 is 10, 10 times 5 is 50, and 50 times 5 is 250. And again, the quickest way to check is to see, is 250 times 5 1,250? The answer to that would be yes. So our first answer would be 10, 50, and 250. Those are one set of 3 geometric means between 2 and 1,250. However, it is not the only answer. So to be correct, we need to provide the others as well. So if r is equal to negative 5, then we would multiply by negative 5, which would give us negative 10, and then positive 50, and then negative 250. Oops, going times 5 there, not times negative 250. Come on. So times negative 5 would be negative 250, and then times negative 5 just to check. That checks out as well. So our second answer would be negative 10, positive 50, and negative 250. To receive full credit on this problem, you would have to provide both sets of answers. Now, interestingly, that only happens half the time, because the only way that that happens is if our root has an even index. Look down here on the left where I'm circling. Okay, if that number's even, then there are two different answers. Our other geometric mean equation here is not going to have that problem. So let's do another one. Okay? Let's do another one. So we had two sets of answers here, and now we're going to do another one. So we're looking for 4 geometric means this time, meaning we're going to put in 4 blanks between 1/2 and 512. So we have 1/2, and then we have 4 blanks, and then 512. The reason we write it that way, once again, is so that we can recognize that a sub 1 is 1/2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 512 would be the 6th term, meaning if we let n equal 6, we could have enough information to solve for the common ratio. So we plug into our equation a sub n equals a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1 power. In this case, if n is going to be 6, then a sub 6 would be a sub n. So 512 equals 1/2 times r to the 6 minus 1 power. So that would be 512 equals 1/2 r to the 5th. To get rid of the 1/2, we can either divide by 1/2 or we can multiply by 2. It's the same effect. Either way, we end up with 1024 equals r to the 5th power. To undo the 5th power, we need to take a 5th root. So in this case, there is only one root. Now, for those of you who don't remember how to do the root on your calculator, you're going to put in the index first. So you're going to hit 5, then hit second caret to turn it into the xth root, type in 1024, and you will find out that the 5th root is 4. Now again, we have to be careful. We have to use our brain because our calculator doesn't know this. Okay? That is an odd index, which means there's only one root. Okay? There is no plus or minus. Okay? So we only have one check here. We have r equals 4. So we go up here and we fill in our blanks. Times 4. 1/2 times 4 is 2. Times 4 is 8. Times 4 is 32. Times 4 is 128. And again, to check, 128 times 4 is 512. So we only have one set of answers. That would be 2, 8, 32, and 128. That takes care of geometric mean.